Hello fellow old schoolers, the action continues here, straight into match number 2 from the Long Island Cup 3.0. In the first match I faced off against Dead Guy Ale in a really destructive mayhem of a match. In this one, which started immediately after the first one, I'm up against a mono green Stompy deck, and the pilot of this is Jesper. It is his pet project, a beautiful all black border deck here. And Jesper is also the artist that has altered most of the cards from the prize pool at this particular tournament. There are a lot of his cards circling around because he usually alters many of the prizes for at least many of the tournaments in Jutland, this area in Denmark. So, mono green Stompy. It's going to be something really quick and really fast, coming out of the gates immediately. Just pure out aggro, likely with a bunch of giant growths and berserks. We'll get back to the decks after the match, where I have a few deck pictures. Now, unfortunately, we had to change the camera angles here because there was a lot of glare in the first match. So the start of this game didn't really get recorded. So I'm going to go over it real quick here, what happened in the first few rounds, just to catch us all up to speed for what has happened. We are 3 rounds in when I discover that there's a malfunction in the camera. So here we are. The start from composition A had been a land and a mox into a time walk, and another draw on a land, then tutoring for ancestral recall, and soft to plowsharing, a scavenger folk played by mono green Stompy just to save my my mox jet. And then I play a djinn and pass the turn, and that is where we see what has happened. As for green Stompy, yeah, he opens up with a scavenger folk. He gets a few jabs in with that, then he gets Torch to Plowshare, then he gets a golden pixies out, and he crumbles my mox jet. And at this point, I think he's at full health, and I have taken about 6 points of damage, primarily from my own cities of brass and from him poking me in the head with a scavenger folk, I think it was. We see my graveyard here, as I just show them here just to remind myself what has happened. He has just played the Agothian Pixie. Oh no, scratch that. I've just played the djinn, passed the turn on to him. He's untapped, and then I discover that the camera malfunctioned, so we're starting the recording here. It is the top of his 3rd round. And he has an Agothian Pixie and a Scavenger Folk out. Done 6 points of damage to composition A. 3rd round, coming over with everything here. Now, this is a bit of a dilemma for composition A. If I block the Scavenger Folk, he can't kill my djinn with a giant growth, but it's really risky. I elect to block the Golden Pixie here because he plays with giant growth and berserks. I think he do, most Stompies do. And if you get in with that, it'll be 10 points of damage on me. I'll be down to 4 and my djinn will survive. But that won't work because he can jump block me all day and my own djinn will kill me. So I block the larger creature because he has 2 in power, and that makes a huge difference when you work with berserks. So yeah, it comes out here was the correct play, I think. So it does 10 points of damage, and the djinn just tanks 5 of them. I lose the djinn and take a point of damage from the scavenger folk. So 6 points of damage in one sledgehammer of a blow here, and just obliterating the djinn. Berserking pixies. That's a funny picture and mental picture. A mental image. These small little fairies going nuts. Okay, but down to 8 points of life here. Another djinn coming out, putting me down to 7. So it is really within the dangerous zone here. But I need a blocker. I have the factories as well. He can, of course, with the scavenger folk, he can tap. It costs 1 mana, and then it can sacrifice itself to destroy an artifact. So he can, if I attack with the factory, he can just block one and sacrifice himself to destroy the other one. But a djinn, yeah, he needs to handle that. At least the Golden Pixies went away, too tired from that berserk. Djinn coming over, avenging his brother. 5 points of damage. First damage done to green Stompy here. Then a Hypnotic Spectre coming out. Really need to be careful here because green Stompy will usually try to make the kill in the first 5 or 7 rounds. And I am down to 6 points of life, taking 1 point of damage from the djinn. each upkeep. So I need to finish the game before the Jusum Djinn finishes me. Passing the turn to green Stompy, he gets a factory. Of course he is outclassed at the moment by the Jusum Djinn, but time is not on my side. Okay, ice storming one of the factories here. Fair enough. So there's a factory and a scavenger folk that he can counterattack with. I go down to 5 points of life. Another blocking factory taking the slain factory's place here. I can't attack in the first round though. Attacking with the creatures, holding back with 2 factories because he has 2 attackers, and I won't really want to let anything in if I can help it. Because of giant growth, and I'll be dead if he gets in with anything. On the other hand, I have to do a lot of damage early on. The longer this game takes, the more dangerous it is for me. I mean, he could have a hurricane, right? Hurricane for 3 or something. Okay, blocking the Jusum Djinn here. 2 cards left on the hand. Taking 1, that's the Ice Storm. It's a nice pick, I suppose, though it would tap him out. But could have destroyed one of my factories. Now, not many green critters left. Oh no, he doesn't get anything down. I'm going down to 4 points of life here. There's an army staring him down here. Library, probably not worth much. I don't think I have many cards in hand. Activating one of the factories. Yeah, keeping another factory back just to block with it. Don't want him to snatch a victory here with a counter blow. So he activates his own factory. I think it chooses to block my Jusum Djinn. I disenchanted before block though. Okay. So then he crumbles as a fast effect my factory. So getting in for 7 points of damage here, and this Hypnotic Spectre will hypnotize him. Take a card, his last card in hand. Just a forest though. He's praying here, I think. I don't know. He needs something. What could he get? He lost a land, otherwise he could actually hurricane for 2. Wouldn't be enough. I'm at 3 points of life here. After I've taken the damage from the Jusum Djinn, then attacking with everything, he crumbles one of the final factory, and then, yeah, the rest gets in. 7 points of damage, that's game. First round goes to Composition A. So we're sideboarding here and then going straight into round number 2. Now, I think I've sideboarded some Spirit Links in just to stay alive in the first few rounds. This version of Composition A doesn't have any bolts as I usually have. I have sideboarded 1 Lightning Bolt in. Here's his hand. Berserk, Pendlehaven, 3 forests, a pixies, and a scavenger folks. So mana fixed and a lot of critters here. I've mulliganed down to 6 cards here. As I remember, I need some early defense on my hand. At least I'm on the draw, so drawing into 7 cards here. Scavenger folk staring me down. Okay, offering up a Mox to it. Now, it's a question, does he want to put me behind in mana early on? It will require that he sacrifices that Scavenger folk. Or does he want to attack with it instead? He has a Pendlehaven in hand, so he could put that down and do 2 points of damage. No, he elects to crack my mana. Suppose that makes sense. Script Sprite coming down. That's a follow-up. I think I must have had sufficient mana in hand in order to sacrifice my own Mox like this. It was a bit of a trade. It holds him back for a turn. Okay, Scrubland coming down. Still nothing out of Composition A. There's the Pendlehaven. Script Sprite's coming over. I like to source the Plowshare it, and he uses his Pendlehaven. And then he puts down an Agonian Pixie's Strip Mine coming out of composition A. Now I could pit Strip Mine the Pendelhaven, but I likely need the mana. I need to... It's a slow start from composition A here because I lost that Mox. So I need to get that engine going. Spirit linking the Agonian Pixies. That's what I talked about. And a Chaos Orb. Just need to keep him off my back for the first couple of rounds here. Though a Spirit Link won't save me if he berserks for 20. Then I die before the Spirit Link takes effect. It's a pretty important thing to know. Spirit Link isn't like Life Link. Okay, strip mining my Underground Sea. He doesn't want me casting Ancestral Recall or Time Walk here. City of Brass though. Now taking out his Pendelhaven. I suppose it's a valid target. I don't want to use my Strip Mine yet. I want 4 mana. Here we go. And it hits. Passing the turn right back to him. Another Forest, yeah, and that Spirit Link just holds the Agonian Pixies back, and now we can get a djinn out. Taking 2 points of damage from the Cities of Brass, but it's worth it. Okay, another point of damage from the djinn. Now we come over. He'll likely sack the useless Agonian Pixie here. Yeah, he blocks with it, then he giant grows. Now, I'll get 5 points of life out of that, but I'd rather have my djinn survive. So now he gains 5 points of life, and I lose my Spirit Link, but... Okay, then he elects to berserk my djinn. Oh yeah, and I Swords Plowshare before block, obviously, so he takes 10 points of damage here. And as I also Swords Plowshare before the giant growth took effect, he only gains 2 points of life from that Agonian Pixies, instead of 5. So he takes, all in all, 8 points of damage. But I lose the djinn, and he loses the Agonian Pixies, and I lose my Spirit Link. Scavenger Folk coming out. And he, remember, 3 mana is enough for him. Okay, I'm just time walking here. I'm just really trying to pull ahead. Ooh, a City in a Bottle here. I wonder if that... Yeah, that really just crossed my Cities of Brass here. Now, if only I drew that slightly earlier, it would have taken out the djinn as well. But now I only have access to black and white mana. I'm no longer mana fixed. Another Pendelhaven coming down. He punches in with the Scavenger Folks here. I let it in. Then he passes the turn. Okay, keeping the Pendelhaven untapped. That's odd. Perhaps he should activate it before. Then he uses it. Okay. Okay, Sushi. Now I'm loath to use my Strip Mine. I could Strip Mine the Pendelhaven, but I need 4 mana at least. Okay, so he just sacks his Scavenger Folk to blow my Sushi out of the sky. Another Sushi coming down. He has a Llanowar Elf. He'll likely need some Crumble, but he could have sideboarded those out. So these Sushis might take him by surprise. Coming in here, at least they'll dodge the City in a Bottle. Factory coming down as well. Using that. And a Single Vampire. Now I'm at 12 points of life. And those are some big, burly creatures there. Ooh, but there's a Whirling Dervish, protection from black. He likely sideboarded that in. And another Forest, so he can actually Hurricane for 4 if he needs to. Keeping the Pendelhaven untapped. At least still, if those Sushis can actually block, and so can my Factory can block his little Dervish there. Okay, he attacks with the Elf. I let it in. I don't want him to kill my Vampire. I'm fine with trading like this. But it is a bit of a risk. I mean, he only has 2 cards in hand, but that could be Giant Growths and Berserks. We don't know. So, electing to Spirit Link my own Single Vampire. Now it's a trading war. Me trying to punch him down before he draws into his Berserks and whatnot. Still keeping the Factory back as a blocker. Sushi and a Flying Vampire. That's a vampire in both ways actually, because if it does damage to anything, I'll gain life. Very vampiric actually. Very thematic. did a good thing here. I have to block the sushi. It takes 4 points of damage from the vampire. I gain 4 points of life. Then I strip mine the Pendelhaven. Okay, so feeling rather secure here. Because the higher life points I get, the more cards he needs to berserk me out. Okay, now ice storming the factory. But he needs to keep that Llanowar elf back here because he needs to block my sushi. Otherwise that's 8 points of damage. So still making it work with only scrublands here, as the city in a bottle has wrecked me. Blocking the sushi, getting in with the vampire, gaining 4 more life. There's the underground sea. That's game. Spirit linked vampire, man. That's been a few years before. I can't even remember when was the last time I had that setup going. Pretty damn fun. So it is a new thing, having all these spirit links in the sideboard. I took them in because I reckoned there would be a lot of burn and also a lot of Serendipity Freets. But they can work like this as well. Like make me heal up against an aggro deck like this. Also very good to play on your own juice engines. Unless you're against Source to Plowshares. I think this is what we sideboarded. 3 Spirit Links and 2 Sushis in. From me and him, I think he put in 4 Whirling Dervishes it seems, and a couple of cards we can't really tell. I took out the Underworld Dreams Disenchant, the 2 Underworld Dreams, 2 Disenchants, and my draw 7s. Yeah, I don't really need the draw 7s against him, because he'll empty his hand so fast, and I don't want to replenish it. So 2-0 for Composition A in the second match here. Here's a picture of his the green Stompy, Jasper's green Stompy deck. Mostly beta. So yeah, 4 of each. 4 elves, 4 scavenger folks, 4 script sprites, 4 Elvis archers. Those beautiful artwork on those. Especially with these darker colors. And 4 golden pixies, 4 giant growth, 3 berserk, and those city in a bottle in main deck. I remember I thought he sideboarded them in, but he really didn't. He also has 3 Maces of Ith main deck. Those were kind of hiding in this game. Didn't see a single one. But I suppose I have sinkholes against them. 3 Pendelhavens, a lot of crumbles as well. And a bunch of ice storms. Makes sense as well. Green Stompy, they don't really like factories that much because you can hold them back with your factories. So they'll have to use ice storms and crumbles just to get through them. And here's his sideboard, Team Giant Spider. That's his one-man crew, Jasper's, and he's painted his own playmat with a giant spider. So too bad we can't see it here. Here's the 4 Whirling Dervishes that he took in. There's some spitting slugs, 4 dragonflies, a couple of winter blasts. He likely took them in as well. They'll tap 1 green mana and X, and then you can tap X creatures. And if they fly, they take 2 points of damage. So they're very nice against Hypnotic Spectres, probably their best target. Then a couple of Tranquilities here. I bet they're against the Abyss and stuff like that. I wonder why he doesn't have any Concordant Crossroads in a deck like this. He likely has reasons, but I think I would have taken some of those in because it provides him with a lot of tempo and another out against the Abyss. But I suppose the Tranquility will handle Moat as well. So it is more broad, that one. And a single Stormseeker here against control decks, I imagine. It is the green way to punish them for keeping all those cards in hand. I really dig those 2 City in a Bottle main deck we see at the bottom there. Brutal stuff, especially against a deck like mine. This is just Composition A for reference. I've already gone over it real quick, but we see the sideboard is a bit different. Not a lot of burn compared with the usual setup. Instead, we've all opted for more artifact removal and spirit links all over the place. So yeah, I can't complain. 2 matches in, made it work 4-0 so far. So we'll march on into the unknown, facing our next opponent. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time.